Thanks to everyone for being here on a very important topic that we don't talk about often enough, and yet has a tremendous impact upon our economy. Today's global economy stretches to every corner of the world and touches every country on the globe. Still, the US dollar dominates as the preferred currency in global commerce. Trillions of dollars of transactions flow through U.S. banks, which help to generate great prosperity at home. And this is a daily operation, but this also means that our financial system is prone to exploitation. Terrorists, drug kingpins, human traffickers need money to fund their operations. Criminals use our banks and institutions facilitate their operations and realize the financial gain from their illegal conduct. Way back in 1970, Congress passed the Bank Secrecy Act, which provided for the first significant regulations to safeguard our financial system against such criminal activity. As drug trafficking spiked and international cartels profited in the 1980s, Congress took additional action to make money laundering a federal crime and did this for the very first time. And in the aftermath of the September 11th terrorist attacks, Congress again acted to strengthen our laws to protect our country and make it more difficult for terrorists to move money. One of the best ways to stop terrorism, as well as criminal conduct, is to hit the terrorists and the criminals where it hurts them the most, and that happens to be in their pocketbooks. We learned this lesson after 9/11, and we must remain and also stay focused on following the money. It's been almost 15 years then since Congress took significant action to update our anti-money laundering laws. The world, of course, has changed a great deal in that time. Globalization has made it easier for small businesses, whether Des Moines, Iowa, or someplace else, to reach businesses and customers all over the world. It has also made it easier for the bad actors to move millions of dollars in illegal funds with simply the click of a button. We now have new technologies and methods that allow criminals and terrorists to move money and operate in the dark outside traditional financial systems and the watchful eyes of law enforcement. Unfortunately, our anti-money laundering structure is outdated. Our system is designed to prevent and prosecute the 1980s cocaine cowboys, as an example, instead of today's ISIS-inspired terrorists or Russian billionaire kleptocrats or Mexican drug cartel kingpins. In its 2015 National Money Laundering Risk Assessment, the Treasury Department explained that, quote, the fight against money laundering and terrorist financing is a pillar of U.S. national security and a strong financial system. But it is hard to deny that we are losing this fight. I should have said end of quote. But it is also hard to deny that we're losing this fight. Up to 5% of global GDP consists of dirty money, and $300 billion of dirty money is laundered annually in our country alone. The failure by law enforcement in preventing, identifying, tracing, and prosecuting this money laundering is estimated at 99.9%. So emphasizing 99.9, in the words of one expert, this means that, quote, that total failure is just a decimal point away. Illegal money laundering, that's the end of the quote, illegal money laundering operations have real effects on real Americans. But when we allow the Mexican drug traffickers to turn profits in the U.S. They use that money to develop and smuggle new drugs into the United States and pay violent gunmen to intimidate competitors and threaten law enforcement. When we allow fraudsters to turn profits in the U.S., we all end up footing the bill to cover the costs of stolen identities, tax refunds, and even getting into Medicare reimbursements. But when we allow organized crime and Russian kleptocrats to hide their dirty cash as payments for high-priced condos in New York and Miami, we price out honest, hardworking Americans from the U.S. housing market. So we need to give law enforcement the tools they need to get the job done. This is why I have introduced 1241, the Combating Money Laundering, Terrorist Financing, and Counterfeiting Act, along with Senators Feinstein, Cornyn, Whitehouse, Hatch, and Klobuchar. This bill will modernize our anti-money laundering laws by providing new tools, modernizing methods, and closing loopholes to make sure that law enforcement can prevent, identify, and prosecute those who break the laws. The bill will close a number of legal loopholes that will have stifled law enforcement by clarifying for prosecutors and judges precisely the types of evidence that is required to prove money laundering offenses. 1241 also will enable prosecutors to more effectively charge cases with dirty money commingled with clean money. The bill also will increase the penalties for bulk cash smuggling, which remains the most common method for drug traffickers to move money into and out of our country. And it will update the laws to capture new types of money smuggling through blank checks or other methods. The bill will streamline evidence gathering by making it easier to obtain foreign bank records, which are vital to proving international criminal cases. The bill also provides for 2 new criminal laws that will make it a crime for someone to lie to a bank about the true beneficial ownership of a bank account and whether such an account is associated with a foreign political official, which is the type of information that would trigger enhanced due diligence by banks. Finally, it has broad bipartisan support, and we currently have 3 Republican, 3 Democrat co-sponsors. In addition, a number of law enforcement and other groups have sent letters that without objection I will include that support the bill. Just to name a few: the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association, National Association of Police Organizations, National Association of Assistant U.S. Attorneys, the National District Attorneys Association, the Fraternal Order of Police, and the FACT Coalition. Today, we will hear from a number of government witnesses and outside experts. They will shed more light on the scope of this problem and give us useful feedback on what we can do. So I thank our witnesses for being here and now call on our ranking member and prime co-sponsor, Senator Feinstein.